The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Someone in the crowd said to Jesus, "Teacher, tell my brother to share his inheritance with me." He replied to him, "Friend, who appointed me as your judge and arbitrator?" Then he said to the crowd, "Take care to guard against all greed, for though one may be rich, one's life does not consist of possessions." Then he told them a parable. There was a rich man whose land produced bountiful harvest. He asked himself, "What should I do? For I do not have space to store my harvest." And he said, "This is what I shall do. I shall tear down my barns and build larger ones. There I shall store all my grain and other goods. And I shall say to myself, 'Now as for you, you have so many good things stored up for many years. Rest, eat, drink, and be merry.' But God said to him, 'You fool, this night your life will be demanded of you. And the things you have prepared, to whom shall they belong?' Thus it will be for all who store up treasures for themselves, but are not rich in what matters to God." The Gospel of the Lord.
Paul, in this reading from Paul to the Colossians, kind of challenges us here. If you were raised with Christ, seek what is above. Seek what is above. And it kind of reminds me a little bit whenever when I was, before I went into the seminary, I built my house, and then I had all these things. I had all these great plans. I was always thinking things on this earth. So, I built my house. That was great and everything else. My neighbors called me the next day neighbor. It was one of those houses that came out on the crane. You just plop it down, and there it is. And you still got work to do in there and everything else, but... And then, so I was working on it, and then it's basically a lot with mud, so I had to do my lawn and everything else, put the patio in, the front stoop and everything else. And then, I got the house set, and I'm like, okay, what's next? And then I'm I'm going to build the deck, because I wanted my deck. So I built this big deck. It was an 18-foot by 20-foot deck that I built out the backside and everything else. And that was nice. And I got my dog, nice dog and everything else. And I started having plans of what I was going to do. Maybe I was going to do air conditioning. I didn't have air conditioning yet. And then, then I was thinking, what's my succession of things? I had a 9-foot basement, so I was going to put tile on the floor, the whole floor. I didn't want to put pergo, because that was, if it floods down there, it'd be bad. But if I had tile, it'd be safe. And I was going to put this bathroom in there that was like all tile, the ceiling and everything. And that whole room was going to be a shower stall. So when I got home from construction, I just hosed myself down and everything. And I could wash the dog in there too, and just let it rain, and just maybe put a toilet in the corner, and that's it, And then, I thought, well, okay, and then what? I'm like, well, okay, then I'll probably put like a fireplace, like those new fireplaces you can put in, and you don't have to have this big thing. You could just put a shoot out the side of the house, and I can have the fireplace in there, and fix up the garage a little bit more, and I had all these plans, and it was just an endless succession of, and then what? And then what? And then what? Yeah, I got this, I got that. And then maybe I'll get my truck that I want, the 4-wheel drive. And okay, great. And then what? And then you got to, so it's just this endless succession. Just, and then what? And then what? And then as you get a little bit older, things start to change a little bit. You're slowing down a little bit. So now you got to downsize. I already see this kind of going to be happening soon, probably with my father. My father's 77 years old. They got 40 acres, and he's got to mow probably a little over 5 acres, and a lot of trees on the lot. So going around and everything else, I could tell he's kind of getting tired, and he's got the pole barn to take care of, So he gets out there for 2 or 3 hours in the day, then he's done, and then he's got the pole barn up north too. So all this stuff is you get all this stuff and you got to take care of it. So and then what? But then it's okay, you get the car you want, now you got to take care of it. If you get the jacuzzi you want, you got to take care of that. If you get the pool you want, you got to take care of that too. You get the deck you want, you got to take care of that. You get the fireplace you want, you got to take care of that. So the endless succession of and then what? Where does that leave you? And then I sit there and I look at the people in the care centers. Talk about downsizing. What do they own anymore? Okay, maybe they have a couple pictures and they'll allow you to have a flat screen TV, which you never pay attention to anyways, because you can't see it, you can't hear it, right? So all these things, it's gone. And then you have to ask the question, and then what? And then what? What is this all about? What is this life all about? I mean, is it just an endless succession of and then what's? It's just I want this and I want that, and it's not like it's bad. They're good things to have, but and then what? I mean, we all have to ask that question. And that's why Paul exhorts us to think about what things are above. And even Jesus, thus it will be for all who store up treasures for themselves, but are not rich in what matters to God. To have our final destiny in mind, because that's what we're made for. We're not made for a fireplace, a pool, a nice deck. They're nice. Those are made for us. We weren't made for them. So, and then what? To prepare ourselves for what we're made for. God, we're made for heaven. We're made for the ultimate love of God. Even our relationships here are pale in comparison to the relationship, the love that we receive in heaven. And so, are we storing up those kinds of treasures? What are we doing? Are we thinking about what God cares about? Are we thinking about things that really last, things that really have a deeper meaning than the things of this earth? They have meaning, but nothing eternal. And so when we start looking at the things of heaven, the things that are good and holy, we start to find the answer to our questions. And the most important question we have, and then what?